I'm Maddie.
I'm Amber. And we're Witches Talking Tarot.
We are the weirdos in this one.
Like a song, like a sailor snubble. Flip the switch and let the cauldron bubble. Sam.
Wow. Hey everybody, I'm Amber.
And I'm Maddie.
And we're Witches Talking Tarot. And today we have a fun episode where we're going to discuss some things that I keep seeing posts about on the different social media platforms that I utilize for fun times, where people are saying like they're noticing a change in the content of the like witch talk or the witchy community on Instagram, Facebook, etc. Or how they're noticing a downtick in that same content, or how they're noticing an uptick in conflict in the online witch communities. And we are going to talk about that today because we've noticed a lot of those same things, and they go hand in hand. The downtick in the content, the uptick in the infighting. I think that makes perfect sense, actually. And I mean,
we're talking about it online, but the reality is I've noticed that at least in the, in-person communities, they have very similar issues as well.
Very often they do.
They do. And that's here, that's other, I mean, not just here, but like other cities is what I'm trying to get at that I've been to as well.
Well, and a lot of it, I think that the reason that it's being called out in the online space is because that's nothing new for the in-person spaces. But in the online space, there was that uptick during COVID, or, the evil quarantine times, where people had the opportunity to explore things they were interested in. There was an uptick in new practitioners of pagan practices, new uptick of people who were interested in those witchy things that they saw online. And so that led to an influx of a lot of people joining the community that hadn't been previously there. And because of that large uptick, there was a very welcoming environment back in 2020, 2021.
When there was just so much content being created.
Right. And now there's so much infighting in 2023 and 2024.
And I hate that. Like, I really, truly hate that. And what I hate the most is I'm not saying I think it's orchestrated or orchestrated.
I think it might be.
By social media platforms. You do?
Well, I think it's orchestrated by the oligarchy that's in charge of us all, that has a very end times looking for kind of thing.
It seems like social media is only showing the negative posts, the posts that they think will get a lot of drama or reaction to the comments. And it's like, if you post
100%.
anything meaningful, if you post anything informational, that's the word, right?
Yeah.
If you post anything educational, whatever, it's not seen. But when someone on a witchy page is like, I'm a hex this bitch, of course it's seen.
Right. Or when somebody says, all those spiritual motherfuckers that have no soul, check out last episode. It's that kind of stuff that will get the views, unless it causes drama, like you said, because I've shared multiple what I would just think are uplifting, normal, like take care of nature, and people are like, oh hell no, that's offensive.
Right.
I'm sorry, what?
I still don't understand that.
And I still don't. But it went viral, like literally went viral. I could not believe it. I got so many followers. I actually I think the last time we talked about this on the show, I did stupid math when I was talking to Maddie, and I said I got 2,000 followers out of it. I got 200. I got 200 followers out of the drama that was created by me saying nature doesn't charge us money.
Well, and that's another thing, is people are following the negative comment or content, and then they're like, not you or your page, but they're following.
Because if it was negative content, I think I would have gotten that 2,000.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I mean, that
there's this one page on Facebook, not calling anybody out, but every single post is like, watch your back, and hi stalkers, and don't fuck with a witch, and
stop stealing my content while stealing other people's content.
Exactly. And it's like, it's what the internet wants
or
us to see.
talking about the infighting. Like, here's the thing about spiritual pages. If they are talking about fucking fighting and not getting along because I don't see eye to eye with this person because they're obviously wrong and I'm obviously right. Question the spirituality, please, please. I'm not telling you that they're necessarily not an actual spiritual page, but question these people,
Look, we're not
guys.
even- we're not-
Question them. Question me all you fucking want. I don't care. Like, do it.
That's the whole point.
That's
Our
the whole
paths
point,
are all
exactly.
unique. And we're not talking shit on spiritual pages.
No,
or
not at all.
spiritual. So
This is just a conversation
this
about the
podcast started from our spiritual pages.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what
it
I
did.
mean?
Yeah.
So like, but it's so sad that, you know, I can't help but agree. Most of the spiritual content that I see on social media has nothing but negative and energy draining type
Right.
vibes, in the sense that it's witch wars,
Mhm.
which is the
Very
stupidest
much
thing.
so. I-
How the hell are you going to get into a witch war with someone online because they said something you didn't like? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
That is the most stupid shit. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to. Someone made a comment under like a post, like, for example, I don't agree with you, and well, fuck you. I'm going to hex you. What the fuck? You're going to hex someone because. So, anyway, there's so
because
many.
you don't like what they had to say.
Right? And that's all that is. It's people fighting the spiritual groups on Facebook. I just left them. I left them all. I wish them quite a
I
catch.
had to pull back.
You know, because it's just all those groups are either spiritual drama
Mhm.
or what does this mean? And then they'll post a picture of a feather, or they'll
Mhm.
post a selfie and there's a smudge in the back.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
I can't stand that because look, here's my thing. Like, half the time, I know that you're testing to see if I could see what you see, but like, just tell me what the fuck you're saying. What does this mean about like? I could
think
be
it's
like
so-
focusing on the ladybug that landed on your shoulder when you mean there's this weird smudge behind me. Is it a ghost? Like, the ladybug probably means more than the smudge.
Well,
I'm
and the
just
thing
saying.
is, like, you have to be careful, not the pages, but the people posting to the pages, or the
Mhm.
people posting in the group. You're going to post on there, oh, here's my tea leaves. What do you see? One person's going to comment what they see, and then another person's going to feed off that and say what they see, and then another person's going to feed off that, and it's all going to be like, oh, everybody's seeing this, or everybody's seeing the exact opposite. And it's not real spiritual work. It's people feeding off of one another.
Well, and then
You know,
you know what? I'm going to rant for a second, because then there's the other aspect of you're going to have a half a dozen charlatans messaging people, or, you know, in the group, or just that comment on spiritual pages. And they're like, beloved, I was drawn to you. I need to give you a reading because your ancestors want me to. And they're literally just capitalizing on our religion. And I am going to call these people charlatans, because I don't care how much you believe in your own abilities.
half of
When
them
you
don't
are
either.
trying to profit off of everybody and anybody that says they might have some kind of problem, I get that the internet allows for much more advertisement of spiritual services than have ever been allowed before. But girlfriend, do you not hear yourself? Do you not see the words you're typing out? You sound like a motherfucking charlatan, because you are a motherfucking charlatan. But most importantly, you're preying on the members of my community, because even if they're not my local pagan community, this whole humanity is one big family, okay? We're all fucking connected. And when I see my fellow pagan being taken advantage of, or I see my fellow non-pagan being taken advantage of by somebody who's pretending to be pagan, it actually enrages me. And like, the capitalism and the fucking commercialism of our religion has a huge part to do with these witch wars that are talked about with the infighting, because true pagans, like, we are true practicing pagans. We are truly living a life of a pagan lifestyle. And when these individuals come into our community spaces that are supposed to be safe for pagans and non-pagans alike to, because the non-pagans should be able to learn about us in a safe way where they're not taken advantage of and they don't have the bad stereotypes like lived out for them, because when the bad stereotypes are lived out for people that are not pagan, it just reinforces that all pagans are these evil people that just want to take your money and it's fake witchcraft and tarot's not real and fortune telling is not real. Like, no, you just got taken advantage of by a charlatan. This is a real religion. It is really a spiritual path. It is really a way of life for so many of us. And I think a lot of people are getting from the lens that, that we live through, not necessarily ourselves, but I think a lot of people are getting fed up with it and they're speaking out against people like, you know what? I'm just going to say it because I doubt she listens, but the Blue Bodhi who pretends that you can see her energy when she's giving readings, but it's just a filter that anybody can use that gives off little blue and yellow light flares. But she acts like when somebody sees it, she's like, oh, you're seeing my energy because you're so enlightened. Of course, that's why you're here. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, me? And so then you give her a rose and she's like, thank you for this.
I can't lie.
And
when
now
I
she's
first
got
saw
money.
it, I was like, oh my God, I see it. And then I was like, why is it the same on every, you know what I mean? And then like, you just got to see the patterns. But TikTok's horrible because there's also people going on there, tarot readers, and they don't know what they're doing. They just want the roses. They just like I saw somebody, they do those readings. What are they? Dowsing. Is so and so going to be pregnant? Okay, yes. Is so and so going to have a baby? Yeah. Bitch, you were telling these people, yes, they're going to have a baby. Yes, they're going to get pregnant, and they're sending you money as you're doing it. But oh, thank you for the roses. Is so and so going to propose? Yes. Are you kidding me? That is ridiculous.
I'm not going to tell, you can go listen to our 200th episode where we talked about magical ethics. I'm not going to tell anybody how to practice, but I highly disagree with that behavior. I highly disagree with commercializing my spirituality. I highly disagree with tricking individuals for your own personal gain. But I don't disagree that you can get divination from dowsing rods. I don't think you can do it through a TikTok live per se.
One right after the other, after the other, after the other. Yes, no.
Right. And then but then I go, we do our tarot lives. And
I
those
think
readings have come out true time and time again.
I do think there's a difference. And
I agree that there's a difference. I'm just trying not to sound like a hypocrite.
Right. I don't want to be a hypocrite and I'm not trying to make an excuse for us. But we're not asking people for money.
We are not asking people.
We're not asking people for money, and we don't make money from those for the most part. I mean, occasionally someone will send stars in, occasionally. Right. But to sit there and say, send me $15.55 and I'll give you a fertility reading. You know what I mean? Specifically targeting fertility, relationships.
Where people
health
are most
diagnoses, yes, right. And that's another thing that separates, I think, our thing is we just do general readings.
Right.
And often there are times when people come on and they're like, is so and so going to propose? We don't do that. And that's what
maybe the reading will tell you that, but we ain't trying to misrepresent.
Am I pregnant? We don't do that. Go take a test.
No, exactly.
You know, because there is no.
Yeah, the tarot, the cards might say, it's in the cards, but we cannot medically tell you jack shit.
Exactly.
We're not going to, even if, because you know what? I think I can tell you some of these things, but I'm not willing to represent it that way. Does that make sense?
If someone is wanting money to give you a reading for future medical diagnoses, fertility issues, marriage problems, relationship issues, employment issues, specifically these types of things, more often than not, they are charlatans.
If they're wanting to sell you a spell that can change your weight, or sell you a spell that can...
that was like, I can sell I'll do a spell that'll get rid of stretch marks. Are you
this woman, some woman that it started off with a beloved, I was drawn to you bullshit. And you know what? I bet you were fucking drawn to me because my light attracted your demonic ass. Check out last episodes. I miss using the word demonic, but I'm going to anyway because fuck these people. But she sent me a private message that was like this long with the different kinds of specialized spells that she'll do.
Weight loss,
Like,
stretch marks,
yes.
like beauty marks.
Literally.
Bitch, turn me into a mermaid. Yeah,
Yep,
you know
that's
what I
right,
was
because
gonna
of
say.
YouTube video.
Like, please turn me into a motherfucking mermaid.
Right? Like, no. But I think these things are a reason of the, like, I think that's where the infighting is coming from. Because there's a lot. Okay, so let's take all the viewers out of it, right? So, like, the people who are engaging, they don't know, right? They're just trusting, right?
Mhm.
But then there's the creators and the practitioners, like the actual factual practitioners, like us. Like, I'm just gonna say, like, when we were talking offline, Maddie maybe had used the terminology, the real ones. And I'm going to say that the real ones are kind of getting fed up with the ones who want to tell you what you have to do. Like the ones that want to tell you, if you're not doing it like me, you're doing it wrong. Excuse the fuck
But
out
I
of me.
can teach you how to do it right if you pay me.
God damn, that pisses me off.
I can teach you how to do shadow work if you pay me.
That one pisses me off too.
Like,
Nuts. So much. Go check out our shadow work episode, guys. I
Mhm.
won't step on that soapbox right now.
No,
But
sorry.
yes.
But like,
No, you're right though.
because to me it's no different than, oh yeah, my Catholic church will pay or will pray for you for money, for a
Right.
donation.
Yeah, we'll get your dead loved one out of purgatory for the moolah.
How is it any different?
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
It's literally not. It is
it's-
the exact same.
It's and in both situations,
It's wrong.
vulnerable people are being taken advantage of, and it's wrong.
Yes.
And that I truly believe that's where a lot of the infighting is coming from. The other place I believe the infighting is coming from is from the people that are all fake, that I want you to listen to me. I want you to listen to me. This person sucks. This person sucks.
Mhm.
Like those guys, those ones that are like stirring the pot of drama, maybe they're really pagans. Maybe they're really witches. They're not really spiritual and they don't really have your best interest at heart. I'm going to make that a blanket statement. You guys know I don't like making blanket statements. I feel comfortable with this blanket statement. I don't know. Where do you think the infighting is coming from?
I think the infighting is coming from, first of all, monetization on social media.
That did happen.
That
did
happened.
happen.
When did that happen? A little
Last
after.
year.
Okay.
Or in 2022. Yeah,
2021
the end of
the end of 2020. Okay.
I think.
Either the end of 2021, start of 2022, or the end of 2022. I don't know.
Yeah.
But ever since the monetization has been a thing, everybody has been fighting for more views so that
Followers,
they can make more
Mhm.
money,
Right.
and they're realizing I can do that. Like,
Drama pays.
yes,
Yeah.
whether or not. And to me, that's selling out. To me, and Amber and I have had this discussion multiple times, since our pages have been monetized. There are months where I make $0. Maybe I'll make $1 or $2, and that's it. But I cannot bring myself to simply start a drama thread
Yeah.
for money and taint the spiritual,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it, environment of my page.
Yeah.
I
No,
think
absolutely.
monetization has a lot to do with it, because then it was, no, I want the money. No, I want the followers. No, I shared this first. You copied me. And then it was
Mhm.
like the pages were fighting over content. They were fighting over followers.
Content they didn't even make.
Yes. And they were
True.
fighting over followers, and they were keeping sneaky secrets, reporting other pages to get their monetization taken away, so that
like publicly tagging in posts and like real fucking icky back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, icky.
I think monetization has a lot to do with the content that is now being created in
Yeah.
Witchy.
And check out last
Community.
episode. Money is low vibrational. So
It
it
is.
actually makes a lot of fun.
Well, and I think I'm going to say it because I've been doing a lot of research on it, as I've been telling Amber. That is an ego trap, 100%. I want money. I want their money. I want all the money. So I'm going to release as much negative energy as possible so I can continue to get money. Maybe these people were like vlogging and doing all this shit, and they were getting closer to their, like, whatever you want to call it, their enlightenment. And then they stopped at that ego trap, which is money cap, you know.
Maybe, but
not all of them, but I
not
want to give
everybody.
some of them the benefit of the doubt.
And I'm not going to call anybody specifically out, but like, as somebody who's been practicing for over a quarter of a century, like, some of these people are very young to be saying that they know everything. Some of these people are very young to be calling out pages of elders. Like, I'm sorry, but like, when you're going to go and attack an elder in the community who obviously knows what they're talking about because their content is just about the craft, it's not even fucking memes and shit. Like, when you're going to say that those pages are bad for, you know, whatever reason you want to say, like, you are showing yourself for who you are. However, because of the way that the social media algorithm operates, the followers, the people who are not these content creators or page owners or admins of pages, people that run these witchy pages to give out or not give out that witchy aesthetic that was talked about at the beginning of the episode, like seeing less of it, because other people are wanting it to just be about making fucking money. So you do see less of the real content about the craft and about practicing, because the algorithm knows that drama and memes make it happen, because Facebook and Instagram and all these other things, they don't want you leaving their platform. So when there's drama, when there's drama, you're going to stay and read it.
Right.
When it's informational, you're going to go somewhere to learn about something that interests you, and you're not going to stay on the platform.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
And I really
shit, have we taken a break for our...
Oh no, I think we're ready for that.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you about to...
No.
Okay, do you remember with... Hold up for this word from our sponsors. Thank you so much for joining the show today. Today's show is brought to you by our sponsors, our very first sponsors, Calm Aura, and they have given us the Calm Aura Tree Devia tarot deck.
It's actually, it is such a beautiful deck. I mean, didn't you say it's lined in gold?
It is gold lined, and the art, like the box is just the tip of the iceberg with this art.
Five of Cups. I love this artistry. I hope they can see it all right. The artistry is perfect. It fits perfectly in your hands. And
such
to
a
me,
good hand feel.
As a tarot reader, it's all about the feeling that the hands. This
absolutely.
Is perfect size. Perfect size. The the thickness of the card is also
so good
perfect.
for shuffling. It's like, as a tarot reader, you will love these cards. So if you would like to get your hands on one of these gorgeous decks or any of the other wonderful metaphysical offerings at Calm Aura, you can get your very own Tree Devia tarot deck and more at calmaura.com/witchestalkingtarot. And that is CALMOURA.com/witches talking tarot. If you want to see how to spell our name, you can find out when you go hit that subscribe button after the show.
Well, and I think you forgot the best part.
Well, I just
you
haven't
get
gotten there yet.
10% off, right? You get 10% off.
Your whole order. So grab more than just the cards. Yeah. And thanks for coming to Sit a Spell. So enjoy the rest of this episode. Again, brought to you by the Calm Aura. Calm Aura Tree Devia Tarot Deck. So to get your 10% off your entire order at calmaura.com/witchestalkingtarot, use code TAROTWITCHES10 when placing your order. haha, not to be hypocritical. I know we were just talking shit about monetization. And then we were like, oh, we forgot to take a commercial break. But we did get a new sponsor, and you should definitely check out Kalamora because they have wonderful metaphysical products. And they're advertising with a page like us. So, I mean, obviously, we are. I was gonna make a joke and be like, we are obviously far superior. But then I was like, what if
We're
somebody,
talking shit.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, like, what if somebody doesn't get that I am kidding? So
right.
I started off by saying I was gonna make the joke, and there we are. Anyway, so you were
Anyway,
saying,
I don't even fucking know.
um,
What was
well,
I saying?
we were talking about just the infighting and where it's coming from.
Okay. I think a big uptake in the infighting has to do with monetization 100%.
Yes.
There was a time when monetization was super big on Facebook, which I guess it still is, but it was super big new thing. And it was just witchy page after witchy page after witchy page at each other's throats, claiming people were stealing content that they hadn't even created in the first place. And then it was like, it went from private messages and private groups to I'm going to call this person out on my page publicly. And it's like, there's this one page, which I won't call out, even though I'm pretty sure they don't listen. And all they post, maybe I already said this on this page, I don't know. But all they post is like, talking about how other people just won't leave them alone, and every post or every other post is like, people won't leave me alone, leave me the fuck alone, I'm just trying to live my life. And it's like, I thought this was a spiritual page,
Right,
but there's not
yeah.
a single spiritual thing that you have said,
Right.
you know. And it's like, I really think people are falling into that, if you don't want to use the term ego trap, I think it does fall into I do think it falls with ego trap, because once you're making money, you think, I'm worth the money,
Right.
you know, and that's an ego thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it is a trap nonetheless, because, and it's going to prevent you from, you know, enlightenment and moving forward. When you become greedy, that greed is a big one. You know?
Yeah, totally. And I mean, like, that's why I've come to this whole thing about personal benefit. And I think that also has a lot to do with the uptick in infighting and downtick in content, because I think that when the pandemic started and everybody really that was like not a teenager had time, and I say everybody, but I was an essential worker, so I actually didn't get in on this, but you know, a lot of the population, not just our country, but all countries, a lot of the population had time to just chill and focus on themselves as a human being. And when that time started, there was a lot of witchy aesthetic content out there by the real ones, because it was before the big uptick in the content, because it was before like everybody that decided that they like this was a way they wanted to live their life, which is totally okay. We're not gatekeepers. Bless you.
Thank you.
We're not gatekeepers. We welcome new members to the pagan community. Every moment of every breath I take, I hope somebody makes up their mind to live their life in a better way than what they were before. So this isn't about like gatekeeping and saying like, oh, too many people came into the pagan community. That's not what I mean. What I mean is a lot of people came into the community. They loved what they were seeing. They had time to do it themselves. So they start creating. They start putting out content, right? The real ones that were already putting out content, they're still doing what they were doing. And then they start getting attacked by people who choose to disagree, because there's now this uptick in followers. There's an uptick in people creating that content. There's an uptick in people that charlatans can take advantage of.
Yeah.
There is, well, not just a threat, right? But like, it's like, what's a good, okay, so there's two foxes and one chicken. They both want the chicken.
Right.
One fox is great at being a fox, and one fox well, he's going to do anything he can to get the chicken in the easy way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So like what I'm trying to verbalize is that like the content creators that existed pre-pandemic were doing it because that's what they do with their lives.
Right.
And then in the pandemic, we got a lot of content creators that were like, this is how I can make a lot of money off of all these people coming to this community.
So I don't have to go back to work.
So yeah, exactly.
So because a lot of people, and I don't say that
I'm
you're
not
shitty,
finding
no.
fault. Yeah, like
A lot of
saying you're
people
shitty.
they had to make money
Right.
somehow. So whether they were creating content or they were having a small business and selling online, things like that, you know. I feel like you're right. A bunch of people saw this as like, oh, here I can make some extra cash like this, you know.
Right. And I think that the downtick in witchy content to a large degree is some of the real ones that were making content that were just being genuine.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't go viral because they were just being genuine human
Right.
beings. So I think a lot of them maybe stepped back. They found other avenues for their craft. They found other avenues for reaching out to people because it was discouraging to see somebody come into their space and like blow up over this dark aesthetic. You know what I mean? I know we make fun of the dark aesthetic a lot, not necessarily make fun of, but I'm sure those of you who are of the dark aesthetic feel like we're making fun of you. But it's just in our lifestyle, if you are love and light, you are seen as a pushover, you're seen as a clown. I work with death, but I still see the light in it. Like when I was in Salem, I had such an amazing conversation in the oldest cemetery in Salem with this gentleman who was a volunteer that worked there. And like I was walking through and I hadn't really mentally caught the part where none of the victims from the trials were buried in that cemetery because they were found guilty of witchcraft. So they weren't given a fucking burial. They had a mass grave where some of their family members snuck them out to have them buried in a Christian manner. But for the most part, a lot of them left in just this mass grave. So whereas I'm like going through the cemetery thinking like I'm going to like give some light healing to these dead. And I did offer light healing to the dead in that cemetery, but most of them weren't there anymore because the cemetery streaks through every fucking day. Like the dead want peace. They're not fucking there anymore.
Right.
Promise you that. But anyway, so I started talking to this gentleman and who worked there. And, you know, I said like, you know, are any of the victims here? And he was like, no. And, you know, he's the one that explained that to me. And he didn't like when he said no, he wasn't like laughing about it. He was more like, no, are you fucking idiot? They were accused of witchcraft. They're not buried here. Yeah, like I'm an idiot. I get it. It's fine. But like, so he and I were talking and he was telling me that the victims are mostly in a mass grave at Proctor's Ledge. And he was talking about like, he is very much, he's very connected to honoring the victims in like an appropriate way. Right. So like whenever they have like certain things, like apparently our trip ended right before the following Monday. There was some big like thing at Proctor's Ledge for the victims. And I was like, I didn't either. I was like, damn, like we're going to be on our way home by then. Like, fuck. Yeah. So, but anyway, like apparently whenever they do something for the victims, he speaks and he reads Bridget Bishop's death certificate or death warrant, not certificate, death warrant.
Oh my fucking God. I would not want to hear that.
Right.
If I was her.
No, but it's to honor her death. It's like to point out like the language that was used and the way that she was accused. Like it's definitely done to honor her. It's not like a you were put to death. It's like this was a tragedy and everybody needs to hear the tragedy so it doesn't happen again. Right. So he was telling me that and he goes, and he was kind of like, because you know, we've talked about the attitude of the commercialism in Salem. I talked about it a little bit in last episode, and I figured I talked about it in this one too, because it goes along with the theme. Anyway, so he was kind of complaining about the commercialism in Salem, and I was like, yeah, totally. And he's like, yeah, people just come here for like the witchy bullshit, and that's not what it's about at all. It's about, you know, honoring these victims because they were true victims. And I was like, no, I'm with you. Like, that's what I'm here for. You know, and he was saying that the last time he had read Bridget Bishop's death warrant, when he was reading it, this guy gets down on his knees and proposes to his girlfriend.
That's
And
just disrespectful.
exactly,
that's
you know
just-
what? It is. It absolutely
This
is.
disrespectful.
And that's what the guy was saying. And I said, well, you can look at it in a different way. Like you can, there's the cycle of everything, right? So by starting a new story in a place where one tragically ended, you're offering healing energy to the energy. You're offering healing energy to the victims by saying life goes on. We will celebrate you as we live our lives, as we write our story. We will honor your story, right? And I said, I'm sure that that's not, because he goes, oh, well, maybe that's what they were doing. And I was like, no, I'm sure
No, they
that's not,
weren't.
that's not what they're doing. They're doing exactly what you think. Like they're being all like, oh, it's so cool and witchy and goth. I'm going to propose when this girl was murdered. Oh, it's so cool. And so that's shitty. But the action in and of itself of life goes on.
Mhm.
There is a cycle. When there is an ending, there is a new beginning. That still, and that action still creates that energy. That energy still heals the broken energy that's here. It still adds to good things, even if their intention was the stupid commercialized bullshit. The action itself can still add healing. And he was like, I'm so glad that you stopped and talked to me, because now when I see these things, because I see them all the time here, because he lived in Salem, he said, when I see those things, like it gives me bad feelings. But having this conversation with you and you saying that to me, now I can see it differently.
Mhm.
And I don't have to feel so bad about it.
Mhm.
And that exists in more places than just Salem, right? So like these healing actions can happen and good things can come out of not great intentions,
Mhm.
but it still overall affects everything. And I'm trying to wrap up what I was saying, because now I forget what it was that spurred that on, other than the commercialism. But it's like you can let the commercialism break you.
Uh-huh.
And I think, okay, that's where I was going, is I think some of these content creators, the commercialized thing, it started to break them.
Right.
And that's why they're not putting the content out, because they were doing something genuine from the heart, sharing their way of life. And then like these other people come in and they've commercialized their way of life. They've made it this witchy aesthetic as opposed to a way of life. And that can be offensive to some. And I think that is possibly a huge portion of the downtick of genuine pagan and witch content that's going out there. And that was kind of my point that I was trying to get to, is I think that truly some people were beaten down by that commercialized piece. And that, like, I think it made them not want to continue sharing, because it's like, it's discouraging when everybody just goes after the memes. You know what I mean? Like, as somebody with a page myself, it's like, I don't want to only share memes.
Right, exactly.
I would like my reach to get out there so that the things I do share can get out there. But I'm not going to just share memes. I'm not going to just share the dark aesthetic because that's what sells. I'm not just, like you said, going to put out the drama post because that's what drums up business, so to speak.
Right.
I don't know. Do you think that people have gotten discouraged in the community?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think social media has like everything to do with that as well. The fact that they're like, nobody's seeing my posts and I don't want to post drama, so I'm just not going to post.
Yeah.
You know?
I do agree with that. Like, I used to see a lot, like, because I also, the reason that I brought it up, because every time I see somebody post about it, it makes sense to me, and I identify with what's being said, because there is less good witch community drama, I'll say, because like I think there's still a lot out there, but it's just not, it's not like geared toward paganism and stuff. It's geared toward, here's how to hex somebody, or here's how to do a cord cutting.
Right.
I don't know Do you feel like you see less witchy aesthetic?
I feel like if I see witchy aesthetic, it is absolutely, for the most part, super goth, super edgy, I'm edgy. Of course I'm gonna hex someone. I'm edgy. I'm gonna go for a walk in the cemetery, and it's ridiculous. It's very cringy.
It is.
It is.
It
And
is.
it drives me nuts because it's like then people see that shit and they're like, oh my God. You know what I mean?
Mhm. I only laughed like I did because I do kind of love that video trend where it's like, I'm a blah, blah, blah. So of course I do this that way.
Right.
Those, I laugh every time. They're always funny. I haven't seen one I don't like yet, but I mean, I have my own algorithm. So, it probably just shows me the shit I think is funny. So I don't know. There's probably ones out there that aren't good. Oh, I don't know what else.
I think we're good to wrap it up.
Yeah,
Actually,
I agree. So a huge thank you to our patrons on patreon.com/witches talking tarot. Victoria,
Melissa,
Death by DVD,
and PM.
We couldn't do this show without you. So thank you.
Thank you so much. If you are interested in becoming a patron, you can find us at patreon.com/witches talking tarot. We're also Witches Talking Tarot on Threads, Instagram, and Facebook.
And we are on the X at Classiest Witches because we are the classiest witches you know. So thanks for coming to sit with us for a spell. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that episode.
I'm Maddie.
I'm Amber.
And we're Witches Talking Tarot.
We are the weird optimistic.
Like a song, like a Santa's snubble. Flip the switch and let the cauldron bubble. Sam.
Wow.